At the age of 6 years old, I was sexually abused by another woman, and I think she was a teenager at the time. And that was a experience where I didn't really know what was going on because I hadn't been introduced to what that was at the time. But yeah, at that age, you kind of don't know what's going on. And so later on, as I began to grow up, I became, kind of sexually active in a way. And, that led to me becoming addicted to pornography. And so a bunch of things happened during that time for me. I believe I attracted the succubus energy. I don't know if you've heard of that before. There's a succubus incubus energy, and later on down the line, it actually led to me finding a very, very powerful healer that could heal me of this succubus energy. Many people who participate in pornography, they masturbate a lot, and they do all these things. Sometimes that addictive energy attracts succubus incubus energy, and this energy can literally destroy everything that's going on in your life. And so it's something that is very important to heal within yourself. And what I found is when you try and get away from the lifestyle of pornography or whatever, stop watching it, right? You tend to have a lot of problems because you're going back to the light, right? So pornography is darkness, period, right? And so when you're moving to the light, when you've been attached to the darkness and you're moving to the light, what I find my own experience is the energy that's attached to you doesn't want you to move to the light. Okay, so it will do anything it can to sabotage your success, sabotage you moving forward, and things of this nature. So I overcame this by learning a very, very powerful trauma process where I can literally work with a client, right, where I can shift them of trauma, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, narcissistic abuse, physical abuse, any sort of trauma. I've even healed people of PTSD in literally one session or two, or people who actually get my alchemy program. They're able to overcome trauma instantaneously with one simple training, one simple video. And I have many more videos on how to heal, how to become a better person, how to use the law of attraction and all this stuff in my program. But this is just one video, one training that I share with people. And so when I learned that technology, I learned it from a guy named Gavin who was working with my business at the time. And he taught me a lot about the mind and subconscious mind and neuro-linguistic programming. And so I learned that process from him, and I altered it and I adapted it and I made it better. And so now, from that experience, I was able to overcome not only the sexual abuse, but a lot of the things that I'm going to be sharing with you in this particular video. So if you're someone that's been through anything like I have in this video, for example, sexual abuse, then I highly recommend you do the healing, and release that trauma. I know a lot of therapists and psychologists and all this stuff said it takes years to overcome this stuff, but in actuality, that is not true. Okay, that is not true. You can literally change very, very quickly when you got the right tools to do so. Okay, so the second one here is I was in a 3-year beef with one of the toughest gangs in London, and this was an experience where I was in school at the time. We call it secondary school here in the UK, and I think it's high school in America. I'm not sure what it's called in other places in the world. In fact, in the UK, we're starting to call secondary school high school. So I was basically playing basketball with my friends. I was quite popular for sports in my school. And so I was really, really good at basketball. And I had my own basketball, and we was all playing. And this new guy, he was in my class. Actually, he came to my school. He hadn't been to. I was in that school for like 5 years at the time, not 4 years. And he came in the 4th year, and he was in my class. And so I didn't know anything about him. I didn't know nothing about him, and he didn't really have any friends or anything like that in the school, and because he was new, right? So I was playing basketball anyway. He randomly like came to the basketball court and tried to take my ball. Okay, and so obviously I'm going to ask for my ball back. I'm going to defend myself and things like this. Okay, so I went over to him, tried to get the ball back. He wouldn't give it to me, and he was acting as if like he was going to take it away in a way. So I ended up at the time. I just wanted to let you know, like, I was ghetto, right? I grew up in a ghetto, and I was like more rough around the edges, and so I'd headbutted him. Okay, so I grabbed him and I headbutted him to give the ball back, and that's when he dropped the ball and I got the ball back. And then he said, watch means, like, in the UK slang, is like, oh, I'm gonna come back for you. I'm gonna come and get you, right? And so he had left the playground, and he had just left school. Like, he left the entire school during like break. Okay, so I had no idea what was going on. It was a bit strange to me. A few days later, or maybe a week later, he came down with his gang, okay, slash school. And literally literally loads of different people came down. Like, it was at least 50 people came down to our school, and then they started like beefing my school because of what happened. And so it was crazy. It was like a mad experience. And from there, I had to watch over my shoulder. At the time I was afraid. We want to act like we're hard. Certain people in gang culture, they act like they're hard, but the reality is they'll carry a gun or a knife or whatever it is because they're scared. And so I would carry a knife around with me. In the UK, it's illegal to carry a knife around with you. And it led to a spiral of different occasions where I ended up being bottled in the head, and my head was bleeding and stuff like that. It led to lots of fights and things of this nature, and me having to constantly look over my shoulder. That led to me having I guess a form of PTSD, and anxiety. And so that is something that I had to heal within myself and overcome. And the thing is about trauma is it disrupts your whole brain. And so, at the time after this experience, I wanted to start my own business, and I found myself procrastinating, and I didn't understand why. I was trying to push myself to do it, but I couldn't do it. And the reason why I couldn't do it is because I had PTSD, a form of PTSD, or anxiety and things like this. Because your mind is always going to protect you, and when you experience trauma, it thinks or believes that anything that you do that is in the unknown is dangerous. And then so me starting a business was totally new, and I guess outside my comfort zone, and something that I never experienced before, because this was a situation that it should have just been a small playground fight, or it shouldn't even been up to a fight. The guy shouldn't have took my basketball anyway. When I asked for it back, should have gave it back, but he wanted to be hard, right, and show off or whatever, right? It led to a big thing. Something little led to something really big. And so in my mind, subconsciously, your mind's gonna protect you. And so many people, they'll procrastinate on their dreams, their goals, and the things that they want to manifest, and they don't understand why. A lot of the time it's because you was abused by your parents, or this happened to you, or that happened to you. And so healing is needed to be done to progress and get results in life. Even if it's like getting back into a relationship, sometimes you'll go through an abusive relationship or a narcissistic relationship, and you're afraid to get back into relationships and feeling love again, right? And so these are things that we need to heal within ourselves. How I overcame that again is through doing the trauma release in my alchemy program. And if you want to find out more about that, by the way, you can book your manifestation diagnosis session and your alchemy energy reading in the description, where we'll see whether or not you're fit to work with us. I'm going to read your energy, and my business partner Jaden's going to get on a call with you, find out a little bit more about you, see what's blocking you, and just see if this is a perfect fit for you. All right, so that was the second thing. The third thing here is my ex-business partner had ripped me off for $50,000. Okay, and it was a crazy experience for me. At the time, I had anxiety. I was in a relationship that was toxic, which I'm going to be talking about next. And this is the thing about manifesting, and why I know manifesting differently to a lot of people. Okay, so anyway, I was ripped off for a lot of money, and this happened through me. This guy was my mentor. Actually, he was my mentor, and he taught me a lot about business and how to build a business, and we made a lot of money together and stuff like this. And for whatever reason, he wasn't paying his taxes. All right, and he ended up owing the HMRC, which is the tax people here in the UK. He owed them a lot of money, over £300,000. Okay, and so he was in a lot of financial debt. I guess he owed a lot of money. And I guess it got to the point, I don't know the exact story, but it got to the point where he didn't have much money. Okay, and so he even took a screenshot of his bank account and he shared it with me. And so at the time we actually wasn't talking. It's kind of interesting. And that's the thing, I didn't even know about red flags back then, but he showed me signs of sort of narcissism and manipulation back then. But yeah, we wasn't talking at the time, and that's because he had owed me, I think, like $500, or it might have been $5,000, to be honest. I can't remember exactly, but he owed me money, and I ended up stopped talking to him. Okay, but then he kind of manipulated the situation and said, "Oh, I thought you forgot about that. I thought we resolved it because I helped you do this, and this, and this, or whatever." And he got into my head about it. Okay, so we started talking again, and he showed me his bank, and he didn't have any money and all this stuff. And at that time, I wasn't well. Like, my health was not well, and so I knew that I could team up with him and offer something very, very high price, like a high price product. And basically what we was doing is we're doing like this business partnership thing where we would get clients to work with us and do a big product launch, because we knew how to do successful product launches. And he was a specialist at doing it. Okay, and so I thought, let me take his skills and sell his skills. And so I was selling packages for $25,000, $15,000. Okay, it sounds crazy, but I had a mentor at the time that taught me how to sell very high packages, and so I was making a lot of money at the time, and he knew it. He knew I was making a lot of money at the time. And so what had happened was, number one, we didn't set up any contracts. So whenever you do any business deals, okay, make sure you set up contracts. And so that was a big mistake of mine. But we received the funds, right, from the customers. I sold the product, received the funds, and I had paid him to do the work. Okay, and so the work that I paid him to do, he never done it. Okay, and this stretched out for like 9 months, right? It stretched out for 9 months where he wasn't doing the work for the clients, and I was trying to get him to I'm pushing this guy to do it. And what he would do is he would text back, he would reply back. He wouldn't answer my calls, but he'd text back, reply back, yeah, I'm gonna do it, this and that, and he'll kind of drag it along. And he never done, I think there was like 5 to 6 customers, right? And he never delivered to any of these customers what we offered them. Okay, and so it was crazy because the customers obviously sent me the money, right? They sent me the money, and so when I passed it over to this ex-business partner, what happened was the customers had thought like, hey, I'm ripping them off, but eventually when I explained what was going on, they understood that it wasn't me, that I was replying to them and I was communicating with them and I was getting on the phone with them and trying to sort it out and whatever it is, whereas the ex-business partner was, nowhere to be found. He wasn't answering calls, he was making excuses and all this stuff, replying to emails once a month and like things like this. Like, it was crazy. And so that led me to being in a bunch of debt because I had owed the customers money, and then I owed his portion as well because they wanted their money back, and they were threatening lawsuits and all of this crazy stuff. Okay, and so that was a real tragic time for me, and it led to a lot of anxiety, a lot of pain, and this person was like a friend and a mentor at the time. So that was a real challenging time. How I overcame that is I started learning about narcissists. I started learning about people who are manipulative, and I take my time now with people when it comes to business relationships. For example, my business partner now, Jaden, he was actually a customer before he became a business partner, which was interesting. And so I actually knew him probably like 2 years before he became my business partner. And I could see, but because of, he told me a lot of personal stuff, I knew everything about him. Did you know what I mean? So, eventually he became my business partner, and he's still my business partner now. We've been business partners for maybe 5 years. It's been a long time. I've been working with him. So, he's been a very, very valuable asset to the whole brand Gavin Speaks and the X brand Wake Up Fulfilled and stuff like that. And so, things like this has led to me, going into romantic relationships, friendships and stuff like that, really like taking my time with to get to know people. And so oftentimes people get into relationships and they don't really get to know, they fall in love, and then they end up, ending the relationship ends because of this trait, this, whatever. It takes like 6 months to really get to know someone truly and know their true colors. And so that's led me to understanding a little bit more about people and who to let into my life, who to not let into my life, and just protecting my heart, and my business. The full thing here that happened to me, horrific thing that happened to me, is I was in a narcissistic relationship, and also in that relationship I ended up being cheated on. And so this was definitely something, I think all of these, I can take accountability for, except for the sexual abuse one. So the narcissistic relationship one and being cheated on, she was cheating on someone else. Oh, so she was cheating on me with, she was with someone else, and she was cheating with me in the beginning. She was, on the verge of ending that relationship, but she didn't finish the relationship before, seeing me. Does it make sense? And so, what goes around comes around, right? It's karma. And so, being cheated on is kind of my fault. I put myself in that situation. But it was a 6-year relationship, and it was mostly toxic. She had narcissistic traits. I'm not saying that she's totally got narcissistic personality disorder. Her mother, I believe had NPD, which is narcissistic personality disorder. So I guess she picked up certain things from her. It was real hard being in that relationship. It also, evoked the toxicity within myself, and that I had a part to play, in that relationship too. And so there's two sides to a story always. And one of the things I learned about narcissism is usually you will attract narcissists not because you're just empathic, because you're easy prey, but you'll attract them because you're being narcissistic to yourself. You'll gaslight yourself, right? You won't honor your feelings or express your feelings or things like this. And okay, so if you're being narcissistic to yourself, you are going to attract narcissistic energy. See, a lot of empaths keep quiet. They're afraid to speak up, express their emotions and what they're going through, and so they don't honor what they feel. on what you feel, you're gaslighting, yourself. You're saying, oh, I'm just going to push this aside. My feelings don't matter, stuff like that. And so that's what attracts narcissistic energy. Narcissists don't care about your feelings, right? And you not caring about your feelings is being narcissistic to yourself. And so you can end up attracting a narcissist. All right. So I learned a lot about, from that, how I overcame this is I learned a lot about narcissism, narcissistic relationships, and it led me to helping others who have also been abused narcissistically, and I've done a lot of healing on it. But the funny thing is, it's still, as of recent, been a part of my behavior. And that's something that, is crazy to me, that, just that one event, well, it wasn't an event, it was 6 years, has led to certain behaviors within myself that I've brought into other relationships. And so it's a continual healing process here. And I'm always growing, learning, growing and expanding, right? Keep learning, keep growing, keep expanding. The next one here is losing my YouTube channel, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the 5th one. I'm going to give you a bonus one as well. Losing my YouTube channel with 230,000 subscribers. So I had a channel with 230,000 subscribers. I have multiple reasons why it probably got deleted. And I had a spiritual experience happen the night before the channel got deleted. Okay. I don't want to get into it too deep, but something spiritual happened to me the night before, and it was real bad. Okay. And that the next day my channel was gone. Okay. Also, I was told by someone who I was working with at the time that there's 2 other YouTubers spiritually attacking me. Okay. And that was interesting. And she said it's not like an intentional thing. They're not doing it intentionally or targeting me or anything like that. It's like in the spiritual realm, they are not of the light. Okay. And they don't want to see me grow or whatever it is. And so they attacked my business. And so it's pretty deep. Like, we can believe in this stuff and be woo-woo about it. But on the more practical side of things, I had a copyright strike on YouTube. So I don't know if it's because of that. Some people were saying it's because of the content that I was creating, where, I was talking about certain things that, the people in power don't want out there, information that, they don't want out there. And, when videos like that go viral and you're sharing truth, usually they want to shut you down, right? Censorship. Okay, so some people said that. Some people said it's because I'm black. But ultimately, I don't know. I contacted YouTube. They didn't respond to me, and I didn't hear anything back from them. And I just started a new channel, and here we are. Okay, we're at around 10,000 subscribers so far. And, I really appreciate you following, subscribing. We are going to get back to 200,000 subscribers and more. What I learned from that experience is be careful who you surround yourself with. It taught me spiritual protection. It also taught me, at the time I was working with like a team. I had a full team. They were running advertising for me. I was running a webinar. We were making a lot of money. And it taught me, not to give away, like, it taught me to appreciate certain sides of my business, because I actually gave away like certain things from my YouTube channel. I started sort of directing my traffic to the webinar that we had built, and I didn't want to. Okay, I didn't want to do that, but they said, it's going to make more money, this and that, and so my mind was chasing the money. But the reality is, I was making money anyway from my YouTube channel, separate from that business, and I felt like I should have kept that business separate from the webinar business. And so it taught me, like, you want to have something for yourself, and make sure you don't give away everything. You want to be strategic about what you do. So anyway, that channel got deleted, and it taught me to, when I lost it, I felt bad for a very short period of time, maybe a few days, and then I started up about a week or two later. Okay, and that's because spiritually I'm not attached to the 3D, and so, but there were lessons that came from it, and I understand everything's a lesson, and I understand when one door closes, another door opens. The sixth thing here is I was manipulated by a spiritual charlatan, okay, for a lot of money, talking six figures here, okay. This was, I would say, out of all of these, this was the hardest experience I've ever been through in my entire life. After doing ayahuasca, after doing ayahuasca and going back to slavery, that was a real hard situation, but it wasn't as long, right? It was like an hour, that I was going through that hard experience. This was a course of 2 years. Okay, this whole six figures thing was over the course of two. So it wasn't six figures all at once. It was over the course of 2 years. Okay, so what I learned from this is be very careful about these spiritual people out there that claim to be spiritual and stuff like that and can heal you of this and that or whatever it is. Be careful who you give your energy to. Be careful who you give your date of birth to. Be careful, of these psychics and card readers and all of this stuff. Some people, they're not good, out here, right? And so, if you're getting DM'd on, you're seeing sometimes there'll be like these Facebook groups and stuff where they'll do a post and say, hey, like, I'm giving away a free energy reading. You get the free energy reading, and then they tell you got some dark energy on you, and you got this dark energy on you. If you don't get rid of it, you're gonna die, right? Or something's gonna happen to you. Or your family is going to be cursed and this and that. I even have people who are involved in certain religions or cults where, if you don't give money, then you're going to be cursed and things like this. So, there's a lot of bad things happening behind the scene. I speak to people all the time, and I understand a lot of what's going on in this space. And so there's a lot of fake light workers, so to speak. And so this guy, he had manipulated me for 2 years. Because of the reason I came to him and what was happened to me spiritually, he was able to make me believe. I was very vulnerable at the time. He was able to make me believe that, I was going to die if I didn't work with him and give him money. Okay. And so I was on this sort of hamster wheel. I don't know how to explain it. I was in his spell, under his spell in a way. And he kept on dragging me on, and it led to me giving up a lot of money. And he manipulated me by telling me I shouldn't tell anyone that I'm doing this. If I tell anyone, then it's not going to work, and it's going to mess up everything, and then you'll experience this and this. And so yeah, it was a real hard time for me over the course of 2 years. It's one of those things I just want to put out there. You want to be very, very careful. Okay. I know certain law of attraction speakers who are not good people, right? They have done things to me behind the scenes, right? But on camera, they're this positive person or whatever you want to call it, right? And so, these are the things you have to be aware of, right? People can do a front because it's about money, right? It's about money. And so, I believe Source or God or the universe is supporting me, and, I've gone through these things for a reason. And genuinely, it's got me into a place now, like all of these experiences got me to a place of like deep inner peace. And I don't worry about life so much. And I'm very careful with who I accept into my life. I have this sense of equanimity and stillness. I'm not attached to the third dimension. I've just become strong. I wouldn't say stronger mentally. I've just become an observer of the ego. I'm not attached to the ego mind. I've transcended the ego. And when you get to that space, it's so fulfilling. Like you have freedom from yourself. You have freedom from your own thoughts. But in saying that, I want to give you the seventh thing. It's not really horrific, to be honest with you. But as of right now, as I record this video, I'm actually experiencing depression. And it's very, very challenging for me, what I'm going through right now. I don't quite know. I know partly why I'm feeling this way. I'm very stressed. But it's almost as if there's this deep heaviness over me, and I'm very emotionally numb right now. And you know, even though I'm depressed, it's like I have this ability to still get on with things. You know, the first day I started experiencing it, I was pretty much in bed all day. But you know, as things move forward, like I'm able to sort of transcend the depression and just get on with things. But you know, depression is not something easy to deal with. And so there's two forms of depression that people experience. Sometimes it's a psychological thing, and sometimes it's like an emotional thing. Sometimes it's a biological, like your biology, right, thing. And so I don't know exactly what it is for me, but I'm just going through the process of being gentle on myself and taking my time. So I've been like downloading, I haven't really played video games in a long time, but I've been downloading like video games, playing Angry Birds and stuff, and kind of just chilling out, doing things to that brings me relaxation. Last night I made a subliminal meditation MP3 so I can listen to every night, every morning. I like a new version of it, and I got myself a pair of headphones so that I can just, you know, sort of chill and decompress at the end of my day, prepare myself for the day in the mornings as well. And you know, I've been going for walks as well. And you know, as right now as well, I'm also doing a detox. So this might be a part of me getting rid of certain energies within my being, and you know, just taking it one step at a time. So it's really powerful when you work on yourself. Like I know, you know, a lot of my channel, I talk about a law of attraction, right? But you know, I also talk about personal growth. You know, I'm all about growth. I'm all about manifesting from the heart, and you know, manifesting through healing. You know, manifesting through working on yourself and peeling back the onion layers, getting back to the core of who you are, peeling back the ego, transcending the ego, deprogramming, you know, unlearning, and really finding out what you really genuinely want to do. And so I've done the work to the point where I'm very much aware of ego. Sometimes I fall into ego. It happens. You know, I'm not the, you know, a saint or anything like that. But I have this ability to go through something challenging, feel it, go through the motions, but also be able to sort of carry on with things, get on with life, get stuff done, and whilst being gentle, not doing too much obviously, but you know, whilst being gentle on myself. So this depression is a combination of being overworked, doing a detox, stress, and you know, I guess I'm inviting you to be gentle on yourself. So with everything that I've just shared with you, you know, I wonder if you've been through anything like this before, and if you have, leave you know, comment below. But overall, like, overcoming this stuff, you can overcome a lot through understanding different healing modalities, understanding how to shift your subconscious mind. Like if I never knew any of the stuff that I knew in terms of well, I wouldn't say new, I kind of invented a process called neutrality. I didn't kind of invent it. Well, I did kind of invent it because I took certain teachings, also downloads from ayahuasca and stuff like that, and I put together a system where you're able to shift your identity very quickly, and I call it neutrality shifting. And I've created a process where I'm able to heal. Back then, I mean, I've known about this system for maybe 2 years, 3 years. I created the system 2-3 years ago. But prior to that, I had other healing modalities and stuff. And so, like, I don't know how I would have dealt with all of this stuff without having, you know, these technologies or these systems or healing modalities to heal. Like, you know, I really genuinely probably wouldn't even be here right now. You know, some of the things that I went through, like the manipulation from the spiritual charlatan, most people, if they had went through what I went through, no, like they wouldn't, most people wouldn't be able to handle that. Like most people would not be able to deal with what I went through at all. You know, I don't like calling myself, well, I like calling I don't like calling myself a light worker. I call myself a light warrior. And so, you know, I've been having to be a warrior for people who want to come more towards the light or truth or love or unconditional love. And I think some of the things that I've been through allows me to really be devoted to truth, unconditional love, God, the Most High, or whatever it is, right? And so I find a lot of people, you know, some people are devoted to the light, some people are devoted to truth, love, God, whatever name or label you want to put on it. But I find a lot of spiritual people, their psychology, their mentality hasn't caught up with their devotion. Does that make sense? So, you know, they have a certain mindset, and that mindset is not conducive with God. And so my whole thing is, like, for me personally, is to continually deprogram, and whatever's not in alignment with source or unconditional love, I tend to deprogram it or work on it within my system, you know, and let it go. And so these days, you know, I find it weird in a way to want or desire for things, because I understand that's the ego. But whenever I do, and I recognize this ego, it's like I understand that the ego wants this or the ego wants that right now. But my awareness knows that I am everything. Does that make sense? So the core of who I am knows that I am everything. And so in that state, it's like I tend to manifest things pretty quickly. Anyway, those are the things I've been through. Comment below whatever you've been through, and you know, I've been able to overcome all of these things. And if you would like to get help and support on what you've been through in your life and overcome it and be able to become a light warrior, a light worker, someone who wants to run their own business, or someone who just wants to overcome what they've been through, I suggest checking out my energy reading and the manifestation diagnosis session in the description. You know, I've helped people through the most challenging things in their lives, you know, and it's very rewarding being able to do that. Okay. And I would love to help you too. All right. So leave a comment below, get the energy reading and the manifestation diagnosis session, and check out this video over here on why I manifest from the heart and how to manifest from the heart, and why you don't want to manifest from the brain. Check out this playlist over here, 3-part series on how to actually raise your default vibration and transform your life. All right. And remember to keep learning, keep growing, keep expanding, and I'll speak to you soon. Peace.